Well, guys, Big Mouth's back in action this weekend. Kevin Holland, he's taking on Derek Brunson in a very good matchup. Nick and I are talking about that fight right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo, yo.
Guys, if you're new here, we talk about all things MMA and combat sports. So if that's your jam, we appreciate a subscribe, and thank you for watching. So, Nick, we have an excellent fight coming up this weekend, a main event, 185 throwdown between number 7 and number 10.
Yes.
I'm talking about Derek Brunson versus the Trailblazer, Big Mouth, whatever you want to call him, but don't call him late for dinner, Mr. Kevin Holland.
That's right. The fan favorite, the fans' consensus fighter of the year 2020.
My fighter of the year 2020. 5 wins, 4 knockouts. How could you not be?
He showed up to work more than everybody, and he showed up and did his job every single time. 5-0 clean sweep. That was pretty awesome, pretty remarkable, especially capping the year off against Jacare Souza was one of the knockouts of the year. I mean, that was just incredible. Showed his real creativity, and I feel like they're moving him up at the right pace, and it seems like he's just got hammers in the way from here on out. And Derek Brunson is certainly a hammer that stands in his way.
No question. And we saw what Derek Brunson did to Edmen, and everybody was talking about the young 22, 23-year-old star in the making, sort of rising and potentially taking on Adesanya or whoever was the champion at the time. That he was able to make it to that #1 contender spot. And then we saw Derek Brunson abruptly interrupt that hype train.
Yeah, derailed it, if you will.
Totally derail it. This is a similar situation. Holland has been throwing around the name Israel Adesanya quite a bit. He says that he thinks he's got the skills necessary to knock him out. I don't know that I can say that just yet, but I can say that for sure I would love to see that fight if it could materialize sometime down the road, because you're talking about 2 elite-level strikers that are tall and long for the division, similar body shapes. But first, he's got to get past Derek Brunson, which is going to be a very tall task. Yeah,
for sure. Nobody gets an easy night out when they pull the Derek Brunson card off the top of the deck. So I feel like this is a great matchup for Kevin Holland. I think the odds makers have it right with him being the slight favorite in this one. It's a close fight. It's not one you really want to bet on, because either one of these guys can shut the lights out on either one. So I feel like Derek Brunson, as always, we've kind of grown accustomed to this, but will come in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, feeling slighted not only by the fans but kind of by the promotion. And they're like, Derek, we love you, but we're going to give you this young, hungry lion. He's like, just watch and see what I'm going to do to him. So I have a hard time betting against Derek Brunson nowadays, especially when he fights a young up-and-comer. But that being said, I think the Vegas odds makers have it right. I see Kevin Holland doing really well at the start of 2021 and having a similar year to 2020 this year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Derek Brunson, listen, he's 3-0 since he moved to Sanford MMA down in Florida. Obviously made some adjustments to his game. He's 37 years old. He's number 7 in the rankings. If he's going to try to add UFC champion, or at least contend for a UFC championship before his career is over, it's now or never. And he's going to look to make quick work of Kevin Holland. But what I think is so remarkable about Kevin Holland, as you said, he knocked out Jacare Souza, but the word you used was creativity, and that's the word that best sums him up. I mean, who thought that Jacare Souza was going to be on top of a fighter, not necessarily on top like a side control or a mounted position, but in the top position of an open guard, and go from there, the Brazilian Jacare, the alligator, to being knocked unconscious 5 seconds later.
Folded over,
Totally folded over. I mean, Kevin literally just hips out of an open guard position and throws a hook and knocks out Jacare. I said, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that. I've never drilled anything like that. I've never seen anybody teach anything like that. So I can't imagine that that was a technique that he's been working on. The guy just sees opportunities and he knows how to seize on them.
Yeah, and I feel like even his coaches and teachers and everybody that's in the gym with him every day hadn't seen anything like that. And they were just as blown away as everybody that watched it. You know, it's so hard to get any sort of power or develop any sort of real strength from that type of position, but to base out on your hand from your back and throw a crazy hook, and you're basically falling backwards. It was a thing of beauty. It was really awesome. It was calculated, but it was so creative, and we haven't seen anything like it before, that it was just it just almost feels like a surreal type of a knockout. So I'm really into seeing what else he can do in the cage. I feel like he's one of these guys that's when you go down in history and you start talking about fighters and what they were for the sport, Kevin Holland is an innovator. He's somebody that is doing things differently. And in a sport that's progressing so fast, it's hard to stand out as an innovator. But he seems to be doing that in the way he's moving and the way he carries himself really well. Now he's doing great call outs. He's fun. He's got a good mouthpiece, so he's on every news article and interview that he can possibly get on, and he's making a lot of fans that way. I think momentum's on his side, youth's on his side, and obviously this creativity, he seems to really have a groove going, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds for him. Yeah,
and let's not forget, he threw up a triangle attempt on Jacare.
Yeah.
Like, who in the world thought that Kevin Holland was going? Obviously, you're not going to triangle Jacare Souza unless he's like halfway to being unconscious. Right. But like, and just the fact that he tried that on the great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend, one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitors to ever compete inside the octagon.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's so funny is the lazy approach to the Jacare fight was, oh, well, if Jacare gets him on the ground, then he's going to be in trouble for the remainder of that round. But if Kevin can keep it on the feet and keep it at a long range, then it's going to be a tough night for Jacare. And MMA just takes you and flips you on your head all the time as a fan. And they're like, oh, yeah, the MMA gods are like, oh, yeah, watch this. We're going to put Jacare on top of Kevin in an open guard, a ground and pound type of situation. And you're going to see a knockout from the bottom unlike anything you've ever seen before. So
right after Kevin tries to triangle.
Yeah, exactly. So they always like to play with us in these situations. But I'm really interested in seeing how he competes against Derek because, like you said, Derek is nobody's fool. He always comes in tough.
Yeah.
Chip on his shoulder, and he's been known for derailing the hype trains. And I feel like this matchup is going to be one that truly tests Kevin Holland more than some of the last 4 or 5, I guess all of his 2020 matchups have.
Yeah, and I think the keys to victory here for Derek Brunson are Kevin Holland's extremely good with his range. Just watch the knockout of Joaquin Buckley. He knows exactly where he is, and he gets beautiful. A lot of pop on his shots with that just straight, clean 1-2 that knocked him out. Brunson doesn't want to play in that game, at that range. So what Brunson's going to need to do is try to smother Holland. Mm-hmm. He's the bigger body. I think he's going to be a little bit stronger. Try to get him up against the cage, work some clinch, work some elbows on the separation. Be very careful, though, because Kevin's extremely crafty. And I think
wiry.
Yeah, and I think if he can wear him down, he's going to have a better chance as the fight goes on. I don't know that Holland, if he gets worn down in the first couple of rounds, is going to have that power to knock him out in the later rounds 4 and 5, like let's say a Derek Lewis, for example. I don't know. We don't know if Holland's power is going to translate that late into the fight. So it's going to be something interesting to see. For Holland, though, this is what people forget about Holland because he's had a string of knockouts in 2020. He's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Derek Brunson is a brown belt. If they were lining up in a Jiu-Jitsu class, Derek Brunson would line up behind Kevin Holland, if you can believe that.
Wow.
But Brunson is an excellent wrestler, and he's very strong. He's very wiry. But we'll see. Kevin Holland always surprises us. Full disclosure, guys, we don't personally know Kevin Holland, but he does come into our gym, once a month, once every couple months to get some work with Crew Bob Perez. And again, I'm just so happy to see Crew Bob getting some shine and some really high-level fighters seeking out his tutelage. So that being said, I'm going to pick Kevin Holland to win, even though I don't personally know him. He has somewhat of a loose affiliation with our gym, and so I'm going to say Kevin Holland's going to win this fight by TKO round 2. Yeah,
that's a great prediction. Real recognized real, and Kevin Holland's as real as it gets. Crew Bob Perez is also as real as it gets. And Main Street Muay Thai and Boxing Gym is as legit as it gets. And I just feel like Kevin Holland's got a lot going for him. And I was going to predict sort of the same thing at TKO. I think it's going to be dragged out a little bit later into the night. I think we're going to see something maybe in the 4th or 5th round. If I'm going to have to call something, I'll go 4th round. But I could definitely also see him getting something done early in the night. And I think Derek's going to be, he's going to have a lot of problems at first, and he's going to sort of weather some of these storms, but then eventually Kevin's going to figure out his timing and do exactly what he needs to do to get that victory. You know, it's so interesting when you watch somebody come up the way Kevin's come up, because the approach that he's taking and kind of the skills that he's bringing into the octagon are very different than what you see a lot of guys coming in. And, you know, he's kind of shocked the MMA world, shocked the UFC, the brass, Dana White. You know, he went from not liking him at all to loving him, and now he's given him main event slot. So it speaks to the volumes that they really like him, and they really see potential in Kevin Holland. I think he's a star in the making, and the universe is just aligned for him to get a great victory here.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this fight. And I will tell you, though, I think that the odds makers weren't so bullish on Derek Brunson losing easily against an up-and-comer this time. Although we both picked Kevin Holland to win, Brunson was a major underdog against Shabazian.
Yeah.
And those who voted on the young, or not voted on, but bet on the young up-and-comer got burned. And those who believed in the grizzled veteran made some money that night. So you see the odds a little closer here, and I think rightfully so. I think Kevin Holland being the slight favorite is probably on par with what reality really is.
Yeah, they don't want to get burned by Brunson again.
That's for sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let us know in the comments, are you excited about this fight? This is a great sort of warm-up for the incredible double title UFC pay-per-view card that's coming up the week thereafter. Stay tuned. We're going to be breaking down the Francis and Stipe rematch, as well as Ortega versus Volkanovski for the 145 belt. So stay tuned for those videos. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And check us out on audio where you listen to those podcasts. Have a great day, guys.
Peace.